It's getting recorded, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah, we can start. So the first question is like we need to construct the rectangle for a web developer. It's very important to know how to design a web page size. We are given a specific rectangular web page area. Our job is now to design a rectangular web page whose length would be L and width would be W, and it would satisfy the following three conditions. The area of the rectangle page which we design must be equal to the given target area, and secondly, the length will be greater than your width, greater than equal to width, and the difference between the length and width should be as small as possible. So let's say the area given is 4. So this is the required answer, because you could have got 1 4 or 4 1. You can't get 1 4 because of this length has to be greater than equal to width. And if you take 4 1, the difference is 3, but here the difference is 0 between those two elements. So this is the potential candidate for this, and the area won't exceed this and is a positive integer, and the web page width and length we design must be positive integers. Okay, no. Any queries or approach?
We can factorize the given area, and after factorizing, we will insert it into the one vector and then sort that, and we will find the minimum difference. So for for the index that minimum difference occurs, we will store in the that we will get in that answer.
So you will calculate all the factors of that 4, right?
Yes, yes, nice.
uh, you want to share some code or something, whatever you have? Hello.
Yes, I am sharing.
Okay, let me stop it just a minute.
Zankur, yeah.
Okay.
So this is the code that this is for the factorization. That for factorization, I found out found the factors of the number,
Okay.
and then I sorted that vector, and then iterated through that vector and find the minimum difference, and ensured that if f of I into f of I minus 1 should be equal to area, and stored that number in L and R, and finally returned the answer.
You might not need to check all the factors, because if you suppose your factors are a into b, so to have the maximum difference, you need to have them as close as possible.
A difference
That
should
is
be
also
made.
true.
Yeah, so you can like do some maths and might not need to check all the factors.
Okay, then what is the good approach?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, but this will also work actually. I think the number is 10 is past 7, so root of that should,
It is
yeah,
working. It is working.
it will pass.
It is fast.
So one thing is there that the length width has to be greater, right? According to the question.
So
Let
you
me
can
share this.
swap them like,
Yeah, so
Actually,
we can length has to be greater. Sorry, yeah,
Length has to be greater than width or
yeah,
equal
so
to. Yeah.
greater than equal
yes.
to that. That means that uh, just suppose like this is a sort of binary search, like the technique only. You only have to search in one area. Like if it's 4, or let's suppose a number n. So we need to only the combination, the answer should lie between 1 to n by 2.
Yes. Yes.
You can
Yeah.
say
Yes,
1
so
to root n actually.
Root
yeah,
n,
I
हाँ.
mean
Root-
root
Root
n,
n.
right?
Root n.
Root n, yeah. So root n. So basically, we don't have to sort it everywhere. Like if you do the same thing what you did, Ankur, maybe just with 1 to root n, and maybe get a smallest difference there, that might work only. Just like a optimization I told.
Yeah. You want to share?
No, Shashank, I haven't quoted this.
Okay. Okay.
That if we are finding that minimum difference, then that for factorization purpose, I and n by I am pushing in the vector, so that might not give the minimum difference, because first I have to check for all that, push all the factors in the array, that vector. So I want to know the approach that how to optimize this approach, like how to optimize this.
Shashank, you have did that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Square root thing.
I
Yeah,
did it. So I took the.
yeah.
I was. So I just from the square root. I mean, I took the square root from that till one. I'll go. Let's say 4 is that number, right? 4. So square root is 2. From 2 to 1, I'll search what are all the factors which would divide this. And if you get one factor, the rest of the factor you can get dividing by the number, because minimum will be what? I mean, if you go beyond 2, you will never be able to have the differences minimum between 2, right?
Can you explain with this example, like considering a
Yeah,
very
sure.
36 or maybe
You
something, some
can see
example? Yeah.
36 you are telling.
Yeah, let's suppose like just 4 is a very small number to
Okay,
get
let's
a.
say 36 if you take, then I'll iterate it. So your root will be 6 and 6 to 1 will go. So just if 36 you are taking, so 6 is one of the factor.
Right.
6 and 1 you'll have, your area is 36. 36 by first one you'll have by 6. Take the int of it 6, and other one you'll have as 6. Then you can proceed for 5, but 5 won't be a factor, right?
Right.
But
4
actually, you
4
are
you'll
returning at this point. No? If your area modulus I equals to 0, so you are returning at that point.
yeah
Line number 5. So this is
yeah
your
this
answer.
because this is the where you'll have the minimum difference.
Yeah, actually, since we are starting from the root, so both the numbers are supposed to be closer.
Closer it will be. I'm
Yeah.
starting
So
from back side. That's why. Had you started from front side, then you would have
yeah.
updated the.
Yeah. So I think that's the trick. That is. So then you need not check all the factors.
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, if you don't get any factors, so you return 1 and area.
One. Yeah.
Thanks.
Because after that, if 4 is a factor, then you'll have 36 by 4 and 4. That will be here. Your difference will be 5, and in the previous case, your difference will be 0. Here your difference will be 0, right?
Right.
And here your difference will be 5. The farther you go, the difference will start increasing.
So
Yeah,
basically,
actually at
yeah,
1 we will be the worst case at 1, because that will be the case when
Maximum
if,
range
yeah,
distance will be there.
yeah, so that's why we are iterating from the back.
If I would have done from 1 to opposite, no. I mean, from 1 to the square root, then I would have to
Yeah,
update at each and every step the
yeah,
difference. But since
exactly.
so if we like if we directly get the square root of a number, then
uh,
it will end in the first iteration itself. The
yeah,
way you, yeah, but except that, like there can be more iterations.
yeah,
Could
Like a
we
40, you don't add it.
try with 35? Because
yeah.
36 is like square root, right?
Yeah, yeah.
35 square root will be, I think, 5 point something. Uh, 5 only, right? Int you have to take. So
5.
Yeah, it will be till 5.
5. Okay, 5 will be. So area mod 5. One is the factor, another will be 7, right? Area is 35. Yeah, we are starting
yeah.
from 5. Your 5. So here your difference will be 2. And next will be your, you will go to 4. 4 won't
But
divide
uh,
35.
but you are returning at the very first line whenever you get a factor.
Yeah, because that would be the minimum one. If you get there, then
Yeah.
that, yeah, I'm
So
returning here. I'm showing you the, okay,
yeah,
yeah, good.
yeah, but you can iterate, but that is not part of the like your algorithms.
Yeah, I was just explaining, like if we go further, you won't get
Or
the
you can
lesser
take
difference.
some bigger number like 33 if you take first factor.
Okay. So 33 will be 4, right? No,
Okay.
32,
Still 5, right?
5 it will,
Still
5
five.
only, I
Still
think.
five.
Still
Yeah.
5 again, yeah.
Yeah. So again, I think 33 won't divide 5, right? So you will go for 4, also not divide 5. 3 will divide 33. So 1 will be 3, the other will be 11. So here your difference is 8. And there itself will return. But let's say if we go further, 3, 2, 2 also won't make any difference, and
1.
1 and 33. This will be too much. So I'm planning to return from here.
I think this is the most optimum
Can you just
implementation.
do an example of 12? I'm a little confused about 12.
Sure. Let's say 12. 12 root is 3 3s are 9, 4 4s are
3.
16. So it will be 3, I think. Okay. So if it is 3, then 12 divided by 3, one will be 3, the other will be 4. Here your difference is 1. Area is 12, 12 by I, 12 by 3. So this is 4 and your I is 3. And we'll return from here only. But let's say if we go to 2, then it will be 2 and 6 and it will be 4, which is maximum. And if you take 3 to 1, if you take 1 and the other will be 12, it will be 11. So it will become more maximum.
Yeah, so as we go from the square root to the 1, the difference keeps on decreasing, right?
Increasing.
Yeah, sorry, increasing. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have
we
you,
can
have you,
also,
has anyone tried to solve it via binary search?
But that's also a good approach, I think, binary search. Like mediated,
No,
I haven't tried.
But with binary search, we always we always go to the middle, but the
no,
middle
but
may not be the good answer.
yeah,
Then we go to the right half.
no, because the binary search won't work because you need the number to be a factor. If you go to the middle and you say it is a factor, which half will you pick? You need to like divide your search array into half, but your criteria is the number should be a factor. So
Oh
like it
yeah,
can't decide it on like you can go left and right. You are not sure which number is going to be.
that is true. Because in that case, you don't know which part of the
Yeah.
lies your
So
answer. That's
yeah,
correct.
so criteria here is different.
yeah, but
But
if we pick out all the factors in an array and then apply binary search, then it is possible, I think.
with
Yeah.
binary search, even if we go both left and right, we still may not be able to find the answer.
No, if you are like going both left and right, so then it's not a binary search.
Yeah,
Binary search means you are like dividing your input into half.
but suppose that we do go both and right,
Inspiration.
and it happened that the index we select it it is not divisible by
Then you are,
I.
I think, traversing all the numbers itself.
Yeah, one thing I am also thinking if suppose we want to find a area, then area has to be product of some factors, right? So in this question, if we think in order to find the minimum difference, we need to find either the last two factors, right? By it I mean that if we suppose choose the number itself, the area itself, then the other number we can find is only 1. So in that case, the difference will be maximum, right? So we can think that we have to find the second largest factor uh, other than first largest, other than the number itself, right? The first largest. So that will provide us the minimum difference. If you are getting what I meant to say.
Yeah. And that is what actually Shashank implemented, right?
Yeah.
So because you're starting from the back, and that is the best thing what is going to get there.
So when you are at the root and both the numbers are closest.
Yeah, but I think the binary search will also work, but it won't be that efficient.
No,
but
but
it's
how would
exactly
you?
binary search not, but
Yeah,
somewhat similar to
you
binary
do the
search.
same thing, right? Like you look for the least side. Okay, whenever you divide the array into half, you do the same
Yeah.
thing.
No,
You
but
keep on going to the
for like,
left side, right?
can I share my screen
Sure.
to just
Let
share
me.
my job and just so we can only use binary search when I have a function like this. When I land up in the middle, so it's a function where this part of my array satisfy the answer. This part is false, it does not satisfy the answer. So whenever I have an array like this, then I can say that I get an answer over here and I need to find a maximum number. So I can look into the right half. Then only. But here, since we are considering the factors, so we'll have an array like this, something a random array. So we cannot divide our input.
No, you sort them.
Sorry.
If we sort them, I'm telling, like get
No,
true
but
on totally
when
on
I'm
one
saying
side.
when I'm saying it is a false number, it means that it is not a factor. When it
Yeah.
is true, then that is a factor.
Yeah.
So
So if we take all the factors, then all the values will be
yeah,
true.
yeah. If you take t and this means all of them are factors, but since the approach shared by Shashank takes the first factor that is true, so that is the most optimum solution. But you can do that.
Yeah.
So, but then like there is no like point of doing binary search because all of them are factors.
Yeah, I
No,
agree. What Shashank has
no.
implemented, that's the optimum one.
Yeah,
But
but
you can still use a binary search. I know you can actually
no,
take
but like
square
what?
root, and then you can do for that. You'll surely
No,
get an answer, but it won't be an efficient one.
but I'm not getting like what are you searching in binary search? Then everything is
You will
true.
always search an area again. You always take the square root of the area, and actually in your while loop, you actually have two factors
But
of length and width.
all these
But
are factor.
factor. So like
Yeah,
what
so
part
actually
of
when you see, okay, if you see you have length and width, okay, and you go in that while loop, like you have left and right, instead of left and right you have length and width, and if you multiply both of them, they are not equal to the area, okay, if they are lesser than the area, you increase the length by 1,
but
or
that
increase the width by 1.
No, right? But
No.
that doesn't guarantee a solution in the subset. That's what he's
It
trying.
will, because it is actually again incrementing by 1 or decrementing by 1, the same what Shashank is doing, but he is doing in a linear way. But what I'm saying is the binary search won't have a
Oh,
very
you are
efficient
doing a linear search, not even dividing in the middle. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm not yet. Because
Oh,
then
so
it's not
then
going
it's
to
not a
work.
binary search. Then it's a linear search.
It is a sort of binary search, but yeah.
Like see, when I got the square root, if you initialize both your length and width to that only, like in case of 36, both length and width equal to 6 initially. Okay, now you just check as long as your area is, I mean, length into width is not equal to area, and if you find that your area, the length into width, whatever, if that is less than your area, increase the length, or other way you can decrease the width.
Yeah, okay.
Let's say
It's not a
30.
big thing, but
Yeah, okay.
more. Yeah,
That will create a mess. Okay.
Let's move to the next one.
So there is one improvement here with the fact that odd numbers are derived from odd numbers. So if the multiplication of odd numbers is the odd number, so your increment I, you could set that way. If it is odd number, you could have 2.
Yeah.
Like decrement, not increment, but decrement.
But
like suppose you had 33, so you need not like go to 4, you can directly jump to 5 to 3 directly from 5. That's what is suggesting, I think.
Yeah, if your area is 25, you can only have 5 multiplied by 5. Or
that's the best.
Yeah, that way.
Thanks, I think that was a good suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's proceed to next then.
Yeah.
Okay. Valid triangle number. What is this one? An array consists of non-negative integers. Our task is to count the number of triplets that is chosen from the array that can make triangles if we take them as a side length. So this is the array given to us, and these are the possible sides, because if you see the property of triangle, sum of two sides is always greater than the third side, which is satisfied in all. 2 to 4 greater than 3, or 3 4 7 greater than 2 in all the 3, and 2 times 2 because of duplicates. First one is because of this one, and second one is because of this two. And your length of array won't exceed 1k, and integers in the array are in the range of 0 to 1k. Yeah, any queries or approach? Yes.
One naive solution can be that we have to like pick up a pivot first, and then we have to iterate over rest of all the combination of a pair of 2, and check that which of the pairs are greater than that number. So that will be your valid.
How will you decide? How will you decide that pivot element?
So this is a naive approach you can do. Like we can iterate over all the elements. Let's suppose we are in this 2 2 3 4, right? So first we'll make let's suppose start from the back 4, and we find all, like first we will make a pointer at 2, and then we'll make a pointer at 3, right? And then we'll check that is this two summation of these two are greater than this element 4 or not. Okay, and then if it is, then we decrement, and like this way we can proceed.
In that only, I think if you just sort it, the concept is same what you're saying. Just to, so if you sort it, you'll have, you can optimize, or any other approach. Yeah.
I have a code to share.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
But how 2 2 4 make a triangle? Because let's say you have the long size 4 and 2 short size 2, then it's not a triangle, right?
No, it's not.
It has to be strictly greater.
It has to be greater. Two sides has to be greater.
All the three are same, then it's possible, right? Then it's possible. Yeah.
Yeah,
because
all three are same. Yeah.
But isosceles triangle is there? No, two sides are equal. No, but
the third side.
Then how do
if you have two sides, if you add both of them, the sum should always be greater than the third side. If it is equal, then there will be two lines.
Yep.
No.
In isosceles, you will have, like, for example, 3 plus 3 greater than 3.
Yeah. So all of them are 3. Yeah, that also works.
So I have this code of mine. So first I'm sorting the number, let's suppose in ascending order. Then what I'm doing, I'm starting from back, since my greatest number is at last. So I'm making this as a pivot, and then I am applying just like a 2-pointer approach. I'm going from starting from one from left, and one will be like, let's suppose 1. So first I'm shorting it, I'm making 5 as a I. Now I'm going and searching. I'm starting from 1 and 4. So in this case, 1 plus 4 is not greater than equal to 5. So since this value is not greater than equal to 5 and our array is shorted, that means we have to increment the left to increase our summation.
Yeah.
So if 1 plus 4 is not equal to 5, that means we have to only increase it from the left side so that our summation will be greater than 5. So that's why I'm doing this left plus plus once this if condition fails. So we got this now. Now 3 plus 4 is greater than 5, right? So the possible triangles which can be formed by this are 3, 4, 5 or 4, 3, 5. So I'm taking a count of left minus right.
Those many triangles can be formed, right?
Yes.
That sounds like a two-sum problem.
Sorting gave you an edge. Yeah.
Right,
After, yeah.
because the target is 5, and we
Yes.
find 2 of them which value greater than 5.
So, but we can take a 1 also, right? 1, 3, and 4.
Yeah, right. This is
no, it is not. No, sorry, it's not that.
It will not be greater than. No,
Right.
4
It
plus
won't
1,
be
5 is
greater.
greater than 3.
Yeah.
4 plus
After
1 is
right.
greater than.
Yes.
1, 4, 3 should work, right?
No, because 3 plus 1 is 4 and 4, 2 are 4. So it won't work.
Oh, all the possible combinations you have to check. Like 4 plus 1 is 5 greater than 3.
But he not consider 4 yet. Now he only consider 5.
Yeah. Then after this 5 is there, our next pivot will be 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So in that case, again, left will be coming 1 and right will be 3. So again, we'll check and the loop will run till left is less than right, and once it stops, so it will break.
So on line number 29, and
Line
28, 28 and 29, aren't they the same? You are shuffling them. Is that allowed, or am I missing something? The 3, 4, 5 and 4, 3, 5.
I think that's allowed, right? I mean, since one, it can happen that you have a perpendicular as 3 and base as 4. If I'm not wrong, and then base as 4 and perpendicular as 5, but your hypotenuse is 5 itself. So we can have two different triangles.
3, 4, 5 would become one triplet, and then you can put them in any combination.
Yeah, I agree.
So on the left hand side in example, we have a 2, 2, 3 as an answer, right? For one of them. Then I can shuffle that in 3 different ways. 3, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, and 2, 2, 3. So that wouldn't make 3x.
So permutation is not allowed, only combination. Yeah.
No, that's because the input has 2 times 2.
Yes, so it's
because of
so
that.
we are doing by 2 factorial. That is the, I mean,
the input has 2 times. That is why we have 2, 3, 4 and 2, 3, 4 2 times. I'm talking about the 2, 2, 3. We are not adding any permutations of 2, 2, 3.
Right.
Yeah,
3 different pairs.
you're right. We are not adding permutation.
So here
So
it will be only 3, 4, 5. And I think another combination will be 1, 5, 3, what Shashank was talking, right?
1, 5, 3 may not be a combination, right? Because 1 plus 3.
Okay, yeah, it is more, right? Okay.
Yeah, it will be.
So the answer will be only 3, 4, 5 or 4, 3, 5, whatever it is.
I think we have to check all the 3 possible combinations, like 1, 3, 5. If you see 3,
yeah, please run that. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, that creates a chaos. Like if we check only one condition, I mean 3 plus 1, 4 is less than 5. In that case, it's satisfied. But the other way, it won't satisfy.
Yeah, I think there is one more optimization which we can do in the exact code. So instead of left plus plus, we can do a binary search on that.
Yeah. So can you use the same test case what we are discussing right now?
Yeah. Yes, one.
Yeah, number one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it already sorted, so it only consider the sum of the previous number have to greater than the current one, and the current one is the highest one in the sorted array.
You could have also checked if, let's say, some side is given as 203. I mean, one of the side is 0. Then in that case, you could have directly shifted 2 ahead, right? I mean, none of the sides can be 0.
The implementation looks very clean. Yeah.
Yeah. 2-pointer approaches.
Yeah, very concise and clean. Yeah.
The time complexity like n log n over there sorting, and this one will be n into log n, right? For loop for within while you have while within for, so for n, and while that will take left.
I think n square.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it could be n square.
N square, right? That's left to right, for every. Okay.
But
So
if it's n square,
Why
if it's
n
n square, I think we can we check the start of the array, sorted array, and the end of the sorted array? Then we may know the answer, right? Then we don't need to go to that n square.
But overall, it will be n square only, because n log n is less than.
Least will be n square. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone was mentioning binary search. You have the approach. In that case, it might come down to n log n. I mean,
I don't think so, because binary search will be instead of the whatever you used, right? The 2-pointer approach, right? So it will be still slightly more than n square, I would say.
Oh no, what I was saying, instead of left plus plus, you can just figure out the index where the left should be, because everything is sorted. Not the binary search on any other thing, just the binary search on the left plus plus, because that is still a linear thing, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to figure out like which index you will take the differences, right? Like, yeah. So
that won't make much.
He's also doing right minus.
No, that's okay. What I'm saying in the else part only, just figure out the left plus plus, because it keeps on doing.
Yeah, but overall remains open still inside.
Could we give an example where it's n square?
Oh, this is an n square algorithm, right?
Yeah.
So in that case also, it like what I'm saying is, if you do left plus plus, right, it will this step itself is O of n. Am I right?
Yeah, but
it is like you're decrementing right also, so you won't have any impact on the complexity.
Let's say there is no triangle. Okay, forget about and right minus. Let's say there is no triangle. Okay, and
where this condition is satisfied.
Yeah, so this condition
you have
simplifies, right?
Yeah, but there is a element. There is a right. There's 2 pointers, so it is dependent on the pointer right. So when the right pointer is modified, then left again changes, and right has to be modified regularly.
Okay.
It will, in worst case, it would be again over.
Hear me out once. Okay.
Okay.
I understand your point. Okay. So what I'm saying is, if left plus right is less than I, right? And if this condition is not satisfied, only the left is increasing, right? Correct?
Yeah.
So it means that the position of the right is always fixed, right? Correct? Until this condition is hit, because you are not changing the right. Correct? So it typically means, let's say that there is no answer in that particular array. Okay.
That won't make much difference.
So it typically means that from the 0th index to n-1 index, you will keep on incrementing it.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of that, I'm saying just instead of incrementing everything, just figure out the index directly with the help of binary search.
Yeah, that you can do,
use
but still it would remain O of n. That is what my point was. Like inner part would still be running for n.
Yeah, because right is not fixed always, right?
Yeah, right will change, but what I'm saying is you are still saving some time because of the left plus plus. You can directly jump to the correct index.
Yeah, but
much impact I don't think so it won't create, but yeah, that's good. Like because it's sorted, you can take help of binary search.
Right.
Can you explain line 13? How did the count? How did you count?
Like, can we use hash map in this? It would take over time if we are making a map of, I guess, indexes and array elements. Maybe that can make a difference.
The cost of face.
How are you gonna use that hash map? Hello.
Like if we find, like he said that if we are finding the index using binary search.
Go ahead.
Instead of that, we can use map out of it. I'm just asking, not particularly pointing to the solution.
No. If you were searching for an equality, then you might have used that. Generally, I think you might have got the idea from the two-pointer problem. We search the sum of two is equal to the third, but here we are searching for inequality. So we have to satisfy it for all left and right, which satisfy this greater than I, the pivot we have taken.
Okay. Thank you.
Have to iterate through all left and right combinations that satisfy the number.
Saurav, can you explain line 13, like why it is count plus right minus left? Like what it means here?
When you selected 2 points and when you got the third point, the third point when you took, they formed a triangle, right? Now all the numbers after that third point will always be greater, right? So those many triangles you can form rather than checking every point whether it will form or not. You simply took the range right minus left. Those
got
many
it.
possibilities triangles.
Yeah, got it. Because we are leveraging on the sorting. Yeah, got it. Thanks.
Exactly. That sorting gives you an advantage of that. Otherwise, you'll have to go and check each and every. Yeah, we can switch to next. I think.
What condition could we change if they want to count how many right triangle are there?
Right triangle. Gradient, I think, you have to take care of gradient in that case, right? Or calculate the distance of two lines and check if the slope is -1. Or you follow a square plus b square equal to c square.
So then you have to check the condition. You cannot do the count is right minus left. You have to go through all the elements and see which one are making the right angle triangle.
Yeah, one by one.
Isn't that become a threesome problem? Because a square plus b square equal to c square.
Threesome, we don't have any square, right?
Yeah, but we can.
That is different.
Make it.
No, a plus b equal to c and a square plus b square equal to c square. Those are.
Yeah, it's if the numbers are positive, then you can make it into a threesome problem.
Threesome problem, right? Because numbers are positive, so you just square it. And
but how will you make, if you square both the sides, you'll have 2ab on the left side. On right side, you don't have 2ab. Equation won't balance, right?
No. What I'm saying is instead of numbers, you have, let's say, assume a square of
so you
numbers.
can you can take the square of numbers and then you can solve the same problem.
Yes.
And then that
a nice idea actually.
Yeah, it's not.
So otherwise, I was thinking of n-cube approach going through this. But that I think we can solve it in n square or maybe n log n.
I basically did it in n square log in solution.
You want to share?
Yeah.
Sorry, I dropped off. There was some network issues.
Sorry?
Sorry, I dropped off. There were some network issues.
Okay, okay. So basically, I can share my screen.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Oh, basically, what you guys were doing in the solution was that you were picking one index, which was the largest one, right? And you were taking the left and right, and you were adjusting them to a range, and then computing. So what I did, I instead of one index, I chose two index. So basically, in the first loop, I chose first element, and in the next one, I choose second element. And now I applied a binary search from the next part. That was I plus 2 and till the last index. So basically, I took out the first index which will satisfy this, right? The condition of this triangle inequality, that is basically this is my sum, that is this value which was the sum of the two. Now I need to search for which it will be greater. So I then search for the third element in this binary search. I actually search suppose I chose two index A and B. So A and B must be greater than C, right? So, so for that, to choose the C element, I have used basically the binary search. And based on that, I chose the first index, which will be like greater. Then all the elements will be greater than it. And simply I computed this from this thing.
So your I is the first element, J is the second element, and L
Yeah.
that you will compute it with binary search is the third element.
Yeah, basically I, J and L I am, so I will be less than J and J will be less than L here.
Yeah.
So this is what I have right.
It will be n square log n, right? Log n for binary search.
Yeah.
And
So
Yeah,
all the elements after L would satisfy this condition. So we are just subtracting L minus J, excluding those elements which are not satisfying. Other are satisfying. Yeah. Fine.
It's a different approach. Sure, it's good.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. So should I stop sharing if anybody don't have queries?
Yeah, we can switch to if anyone have.
Sure.
Okay. No, the same. So we have to calculate the unique paths. Robot is placed at the top left corner of MN grid, M cross N grid, marked as start in the diagram. The robot can only move either down or right at any point of time and is trying to reach the bottom right corner of the grid. So we have to find the unique possible paths. The robot is here. He needs to go over this position. So what are the possible paths? So these are the three possible paths: right, right, down, right, 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 down. Yeah. So these are the yeah. Any queries in the question? Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay. Yeah. I thought.
So
I
it
think
is
this is
not a
for
square grid, right? It is okay.
rectangular.
Yeah,
It could be square also, not. I mean, no, it's not. It cannot be. Sorry, it's given that it's rectangular only. Okay.
So is it like a very simple DFS problem?
DFS, yeah.
On looking for each and every path, but with backtracking for sure. It won't be an exactly DFS sort of, but it will still
kind of
like a DP problem. But
like we had earlier, no, square is given. We are on the top left corner. We have to reach the extreme right. So we'll check all the possible paths. Like let's say if we have to reach to this grid, this white one. So one way is like we can go here and then reach here. The other way could be we can go here and this reach here. So we got the possible paths for reaching this cell. Next, let's say next time I have to calculate for this cell. So this cell plus this cell will help to reach, and this plus this will help us to reach over here. Kind of.
So the cursor on your that square where you are currently, so you will be looking for all the three, like the top as well as the
left
side, and then top left, right?
Yeah.
So you'll be adding from both of them, and then that will be the answer for the one.
That cell, reaching that cell.
Yeah.
My marker is there.
Yeah.
Or anyone has any other approach like something DFS using or something, or DP only some other way?
Yeah, so I had an approach, but it's not quite DP or DFS. I am not able to share the screen because I'm on a mobile right now.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Say.
can you please write it down? I can just dictate it. So since this is a rectangle, so for an easy path, we choose 3 downs and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rights, right, to reach the destination from source to destination.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, 6 rights, or you can just assume that from start,
Okay.
and you go down. So you go down twice, right? You go down twice, and then you go right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So can you write like this? D D R R R like this?
Oh, sorry. 6 and R. This is correct, right? 2 down and 6. Or should I write DD?
DD, you can write DD.
Okay.
DD 6.
2 to 4. I think that's right.
Okay. So basically, our whole rectangle has now, our whole paths have now become like this. You can either choose DD, RR, or means whatever path you choose, the letters would be the same. Just they would be rearranged in some other way. Like suppose if you do DRD and on the first 3 letters and then keep the remaining same, still you would reach the destination, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically,
you're dividing, like summing 6 plus 2, you're dividing by the 2 factorial and 6 factorial is.
Yeah. So basically, it's a combination problem. Like, how do you arrange the? How many possible ways are there to arrange these letters? So it would be. This would be 8 factorial divided by 2 factorial by 6 factorial.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's
because 2 are similar. Go ahead.
Yeah, in terms of n, you should write it in terms of n and m. N plus m minus 2 by n factorial by.
Yeah, n plus m divided by
8C2, right?
NC2, no.
No, 8C2, right?
8C2,
yeah, so
8.
You have to subtract. You have to subtract minus 1 because like for 3 we are going only 2 step down.
So if this problem contains obstacles, like you would find similar problems with obstacles, then this approach would work, and DP approach or DFS approach would work. But since this is a simple problem, so you can just rearrange the letters and find how many will be there. So this would save space.
I missed it. Could you explain one more time how did you derive this equation?
Yeah, sure. So as you can see, if we go twice down and 6 times right, you will reach your destination. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now if you rearrange any of these letters, like suppose say if you go down once, then right, and then down once, and then keep the remaining letters same. So basically if it's D, R, D, then 5 times R, still you would reach the destination.
Okay.
Okay. So now you can choose any other rearrangement. You would still reach the destination. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, this whole string, whole string can be broken down into. I mean, the whole problem can be broken down into a string. I mean, you are given a few strings. Now you have to arrange those strings. You have to find the number of ways to arrange those strings. That's the whole problem that boils down to. Am I right?
Okay.
So that's what basically I'm doing. So since there are two D's and 6 R's, so for this problem it would be 8C2. And in general, if I say that, and in general, if I mean have to say, so if you are given an n, and if you are given an n, so it would be n plus n factorial divided by n factorial into n factorial.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Great one, man.
Yeah, it's a nice
This
approach.
is constant time.
Not constant time, we have to still calculate the factorials.
And factorial it will take, I think, and which should be like
basically I think f of and it basically bigger of m and n, right?
Mm-hmm.
A bigger, you have to find the bigger one and then
that's it. Right? Yeah. Oh, basically n plus m, O of n plus m. Because you have to
O
find,
of n plus n factorial. No.
yeah. So O of n plus n factorial takes if you apply the dp, or it will be constant time, right? Because f of like whatever, it's basically the time taken with the factorial.
From here only DP came, no, that utilizing the sub problems. Because it is giving you all the possible paths to reach over there, right? So some of the paths whichever you have already visited, you can take advantage of it.
So yeah, it is DP because you're calculating the factorial. So it will be some factor will be added of log also, right?
Yeah.
So surely it is going to be m plus n, but there will be some factor of log also.
Log.
Because you are calculating factorial twice, right? Or only once, yeah.
Do we have to write code to implement the factorial, or the library already have one? Probably better.
Like if you calculate the entire factorial, if you can like simplify this equation, the bigger of n and m, all those numbers would be like cancelled the denominator from the numerator also.
Yeah,
you have to calculate like the smaller ones.
Yeah.
You can like break it down and then you can write. If you calculate the factorials, then it would be like it would be more expensive, and you might run out of the integer space. But overflow would apply.
In the worst case,
I need to calculate only.
Yeah, because factorial would be like a very big number. So you should not calculate n plus n.
I can cancel this 6 factorial.
Yeah, here you can directly cancel this 6 factorial, and rest you can just divide. You can start from like 8 and really increment 1, 8 by 1, 7 by
So 8 m, whichever is bigger, m minus n, up to that point only we need to calculate the factorial and divide it by the smaller of m and n factorial. Like 8 factorial was the m is like 1,
It's
2,
not
6.
exactly like factorial, but whatever you are writing, just calculate that.
Oh.
Yeah, but if it is a square, then again you'll have to have half of that.
Half, both.
Yeah. So the problem might not be n or m. Problem might be that your the multiplication might over.
Yeah.
If you go by the constraints, I think n and m would be not that big.
Yeah.
Iterating over them might be an issue.
Yeah.
But the multiplication might over.
Yeah. But only good thing is the space complexity will be constant. But if you go the DP way, the DP way will be slightly better in time complexity, but space complexity it will be the same almost.
No, the DP is n into m, and this is max of O of n, n plus m.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is
it is
O
too
of n
much.
plus m.
It's mean of O(n plus n, right? M plus n.
Yeah. I'm saying O of n plus m. Which one is bigger?
For DP, I think we can optimize the space and use only. I think it maybe we can use only M only size of the M on one single array, right?
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, but time complexity is more, right?
Yeah, time complexity is.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Any queries further in this?
Yeah, but DP looks intuitive too. That's been asked by many of them, right? Yeah.
So obstacles will come, then in that case it won't work, right? What he was saying.
Yeah,
Are you
since
sure?
obstacles, you won't be able to judge. You won't be able to denote the whole.
You can, I
movement in-
think, still do some counting. Right?
Yeah, we can still do, but this approach won't work. That what I just said. Yeah.
No,
Because that particular permutation might not be feasible to work because you'll
Yeah,
have
but
some...
I think in permutation combination we also solve problems like the D cannot come at the fourth index. I think we can solve this.
Yes.
I think we can solve this mathematically. So if we can convert that obstacle problem to something like this, that the D cannot come at fourth index, R cannot come at this particular index. So then still we might be able to use the formula. And how will we calculate that D cannot come at 4 and R cannot come at 6 would be. But like still you have to go and traverse n into m the entire DP array and figure out where your obstacle are, and then you'll have to come up with this thing. It will become more complicated and might not be worth it. Then better use.
Correct. So that I have a question that during interviews, if we know this approach only, but like the interviewer might ask me that, okay, now there's obstacles, how are you going to proceed with that? So generally, which way is better to tell, the DP one or the combinations one?
Yeah, combination you can try. I was just suggesting you how you can solve it. It might not be like easier thing to implement.
Yeah.
Yeah, so suppose if you have an obstacle, let's suppose say 2 and 2, so that means you cannot like to reach at 2 and 2 have a certain combination of D's and R behind that 2 and 2. How many D's and 2's you can have? And like it would become a very complex math problem.
And it will become, yeah.
Yeah, so that is one thing. And second thing, you will anyways have to use n into m time complexity. That you cannot like get away from. So like, is it worth doing more complex thing and saving nothing? So that is the thing.
Yeah, but for this problem, actually, it should be okay, right? He can actually show the.
Yeah, this is actually converting into O n plus m.
Yeah, because sometimes if you are totally blank in the interview, sometimes it happens, you know. for simple problems also. So if you can come to this solution, it's fine, you can show him. But if there is something he keeps on asking about follow-ups, then there might be some way of actually handling that.
Ideally, you need a hint to come up with this. Like I also
Absolutely.
thought that it is a simple DP problem, and I was just about to leave the session. Then someone came up with a tricky solution also.
The DP one can not be applied. Excuse me. Yeah. So the DP solution can be applied, I think, in case of obstacle also. Hello.
Yeah. So DP can be applied in any ways, because when
Yeah,
you are
any
doing
ways,
this, when you're doing on line number 7, then you can have an if condition whether it is possible to reach I minus
exactly.
1j or So you understand that part.
Yeah, we can just put a condition and we don't update the value in those blocks where obstacle is.
Yeah.
Exactly, huh? And interviewer, I don't think so will be that much mathy. Like if we go beyond this, the math will be a bit complex, I think. Yeah. So it would be hard
Even
for him to also comprehend this.
Yeah. So even I'm assuming that if he expect me to think in this way, he should give me some hint. Like otherwise, you might have to memorize the solution.
Yeah, exactly. That's the last
By
option.
memorizing, not the not that way, but you might need to have solved this problem previously to remember.
Clear.
Yep, I think that's a good discussion for today.
Yeah. Let me stop sharing.
Stop recording.